Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name is Aaron. One Bitcoin will equal $20,000 by the end of the year. I feel real confident about it. This is a statement that was made by none other than Wall Street legend Mike Novogratz on CNBC. So they invited Mike on CNBC yesterday to talk about the stock market, of course, and to talk about Bitcoin's halving. And Mike had a lot to say. So I have two clips that I need you to see. I'm going to play two clips. And before I get to the second clip where Mike actually makes this prediction, let's first hear what he has to say about the current state of Bitcoin. By the way, guys, there are two things that will always be true. Number one, Mike Novogratz will always lean bullish on Bitcoin. And number two, CNBC host Melissa Lee will always act skeptical towards Bitcoin. Watch this.
Bitcoin falling today following the halving. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a technical event that reduces the number of Bitcoins rewarded to miners, in turn reducing the number of Bitcoins mined. Mike Novogratz is still with us. So what's your take on the event? It certainly seemed a little bit like a sell the news kind of event, at least initially.
I would expect the market to hold here at 8,000, 8,500 and to start trading right back up. We're seeing at our shop just a huge increase in interest in Bitcoin and getting into crypto from high net worth individuals, from funds.
Actually, guys, I need to interrupt real quick. Before you just write Mike off totally for being a permabull, before you just, write him off, say, oh, he's just too bullish, keep in mind, he has been right before. In fact, just recently, for the past 2 months, he's been saying that this year, beginning of this year and throughout this year, we're going to be seeing big hedge funds and high net worth individuals come out in support or buying Bitcoin. And he was correct about this with Paul Tudor Jones. So I just wanted to point that out. Anyways, let's continue.
Crypto's not easy to buy. It takes a while to get set to buy it. If it was easy to buy, it would be much higher. And so it doesn't happen overnight, but it feels like a herd is on its way, finally. I coined that phrase a long time ago, and I've been waiting and waiting for the institutional side. And I think this Tudor news is very big news because in some ways it takes the career risk of looking dumb out of buying Bitcoin. It credentializes it as a macro weapon. It might or might not work, but people aren't going to say, oh, you were a fool to do that. That's Tulos. No, it's now seen as a legitimate store of value. And I think it'll allow other hedge funds to participate as well.
Yeah, you don't want to be the first guy, that's for sure.
Melissa, don't want to be the first guy in, that's for sure. Melissa Lee always being so skeptical. It's not like you haven't been hearing about Bitcoin for years, Melissa.
If Bitcoin were to really take hold in human society, then the total circulation value will be in the trillions. And to get from 0 to trillions is going to be a bumpy ride. It can't go there immediately.
It would be quite a ride if it did. I want to ask you, because Bitcoin it's digital. It's a barcode that you get once you put money in.
Anyways, we're not going to wait for Melissa to turn bullish on Bitcoin. The day she turns bullish, that's the day maybe think about selling, right? Anyways, let's get to it. Mike Novogratz says he is confident that Bitcoin will reach all-time highs by the end of the year. This is that clip. By the way, guys, everybody like the video, support the channel, and, they're going to set him up saying, what are your thoughts on the current price? And then he gets into it.
BK, you got a question for Novo?
I want to know if Bitcoin goes to 50,000, does he grow the mustache out or does he shave it off? I do have a real question for you, Mike. So I'm curious. We've seen in the past with these halvings, you see a sell-off 30 to 60 days. Are you positioned that way where we have a sell-off for 30 days and then the real rally comes, or do you think that's the last 2 times and we're not going to have it again?
No, I laughed. I had a really original strategy of kind of selling into the halving and then buying the pullback. But we have seen so much activity that I didn't sell a damn thing. I put a hodl sign, hold on for dear life sign, which is a crypto term where, the real core crypto guys never sell. I literally really think that the movement we're seeing, listen, the halving comes almost at a perfect time. If you think about this macro backdrop of quantitative easing on top of quantitative easing on top of quantitative easing, the halving is quantitative tightening. And so, it's like an exclamation point on the macro story of why a scarce asset like Bitcoin should go higher. And so I haven't sold. I think, I missed the sell-off, and I think you're going to see the thing base here And we will take out 10,000. We will go to 20,000 by the end of the year. I feel real confident about it.
All right. So take this prediction with a grain of salt. Just to be clear, the man has made wrong predictions in the past. But as an investor, that's what you have to do. You have to make educated guesses on what you think an asset's price will be in the future. And by the way, perhaps the most interesting part of this interview is actually the next question, where they asked him his current thoughts on Ethereum. Thought this was interesting. So if I recall correctly, Mike used to be almost equally bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, he put those at the same level. Now it seems he's more bullish on Bitcoin. He says Bitcoin's narrative of being digital gold is so straightforward and so pure. Well, anyways, they asked him about Ethereum. This is what he says.
I wanted to ask you in terms of, Ethereum contracts started trading today, and I'm wondering if you are in that trade at all and what you see for some of the other cryptocurrencies aside from Bitcoin.
Listen, I have a smaller position in Ethereum, and I think, Bitcoin has this lane of store of value. And because of it, it's almost a finished product. There's nothing that has to happen for Bitcoin to get better. The other projects, Ethereum being the most promising and second biggest, really continue to need to develop the underlying technology so it's used more often. Right? Ethereum is right now used for decentralized finance. Mm-hmm. There's about a little less than $1 billion of DeFi, or $600 million of DeFi on Ethereum. And all the stable coins have moved over there. So there's $9 billion of stable coins. And so that's a big deal. As the Ethereum project grows, I think the value will go up. But I don't think it's today's news. I think it will get dragged along with Bitcoin, but it won't accelerate on its own, probably for a year or two, until it really gets users on the platform. And that'll get valued more like Facebook. It'll be a social network. It'll be a network effect. The more programmers, the more coders, the more businesses built on it, the value will go up.
Okay, so that's Mike Novogratz. Those are his thoughts. That's who he is. Let's pivot a little bit. I want to talk about the significance of the Bitcoin halving yesterday. Well, actually, in our hour-and-a-half live stream, counting down to zero, we talked all about the significance of the Bitcoin halving. So if you haven't watched this, make sure you do it. 46,000 people have watched it in the first 24 hours or 20 hours. We had a record amount of people tuning in, jumping onto the actual live stream. A lot of good stuff in here. I think this live stream was actually only second to the one that Coinbase did, which got over 100,000 people tuning in, and it went on for 12 hours. That one was epic. But I think we'll take second for biggest live stream, and in actuality, it doesn't matter. 2 people can celebrate the halving. All you need is 2 nerds together. And for a little bit more perspective, check this out. The final block with the reward of 12.5 Bitcoin, so before it got halved, right before, the final block was mined containing the following message. This is a headline article. New York Times, 9th of April 2020, with 2.3 trillion injection, Fed's plans far exceed the 2008 rescue. So, a little piece of history included in this block. It's reminiscent of the first block that was mined. Of course, Satoshi put in Chancellor on the brink of bailout. So, as Novogratz pointed out, Bitcoin's use case is pretty clear, pretty straightforward. Taking a look at the current price of Bitcoin, 8,800 currently. Could we continue going up? Could we, in actuality, break this resistance? Yeah, we could. I'm still hoping we kind of go back down, and that doesn't have to happen. That doesn't have to happen, this week. It could happen at the end of the month. It could happen next month. For me personally, I'm hoping for a buying opportunity somewhere a little bit lower. Now, perhaps, the most carefree, smartest thing you can do is cost average. But for me, I'm willing to risk it. If I never get back into Bitcoin, or if I never, increase my stack, so be it. I'm willing to take that risk. All right, guys, that is it for me today. My name is Aaron at Altcoin Daily. Make sure you like the video if you got value today. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos on everything going on in the cryptocurrency space.
Okay. One quick question for the traders before I let you go, Mike. Show of hands, who wants Mike to shave his mustache off? Show of hands.
No.
Wow. No takers, Mike. You're going to keep that thing. Apparently, you're going to keep it.
My Gordon Liddy look.
Great to speak with you. Thanks so much for your time.